guys, I got another battle here, a Wi-Fi battle, and this is versus FrostyPixie. I battled her on her live stream, and it's a rotation battle. It's pretty fun. Alright, so I set up my pet on Gliscor and Notori while she sends out her boss and human fetus. Anyways, I go for the stealth rocks for the damage for later on in the game, and she goes for the trick room. I'm like, oh geez, this is gonna be a long game because my whole team is like actually decently fast. They're not like monsterly fast, but they're decently fast. Anyways, and she predicted. I thought she was gonna go for the grass attack, so I switched into my Notori, but she predicted that and she switched into her slow ass and went for the fire fang. But anyways, because I brought my sandstorm team as well. But so I went in my Heatran, but I switched over, and her human fetus went for the calm mine, trying to set up as I go for an ice fang, hoping maybe for a freeze hacks or something, and she goes for another calm mine and trying to set up on me like I said before, and then this time I go for an earthquake. I was pretty sure that she wasn't gonna switch out, but I noticed how little damage that did. So she's probably a physical wall. But then I go for the earthquake again, thinking that she would stay in, and then she goes for an energy ball, and it does a friggin' heck ton, at least half onto my Hippowdon, but I heal up and I get over half, which is kind of funny because it's the stab or energy ball and it didn't even do more than half. Anyways, the dimensions are finally returned to normal. She goes for the leech seed as I go for the acrobat. Even though I still have my item, I knew it was going to do a pretty decent amount of damage. And the sandstorm goes on and damages, and she gets leftovers she gets leech seeded off me, but because my poison heal, I can heal it off right away. And plus, I flung my toxic orb, and now her slow ass is toxic. So, and plus, I knew I was most likely gonna live any attack she was gonna dish out at me. So I thought maybe I should just stay in and go for the fling. And I was right. I lived the Dragon Claw. It was like actually not that bad amount of HP. And I switch over to go to my Hippowdon, predicting the switch back into the grass type. So I go for the Ice Fang, and I get the free attacks. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. But it was good on my part. But I mean, I felt kind of bad because I got the free attacks. And then we get leftovers, and I go for another Ice Fang for the kill because she didn't get to set up her trick room. So basically, I was faster for the rest of the game until she sent out this wizard. I'm like, oh geez, it's gonna take me a little while because I hate Kecleon. Anyways, I go for a stab earthquake, and it transforms into a grass type. And I did not know Kecleon could learn trick room, so I'm like, oh crap. So now my whole team is slower, technically speaking. Goes for the ice punch, and it does not that bad amount of damage, but I get the freeze hacks as well right after I freeze her with her grass type. I'm like, oh, come on, that sucks. But she predicted to switch into Heatran, but I didn't switch out, but I stayed in. And I go for the Ice Fang because I knew it was going to be, super effective, but it sucked. She lived with like barely any HP, and she ice punches, and I'm like, hey, how did I die? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, I changed her into a nice type, so now ice punches stab. But she killed herself with it because of the sand. She didn't kill herself, but the sandstorm knocked her out. I go into my Swampert. As she goes for the Shadow Ball, because I know I'm a special defensive wall, I can start cursing out for a little while, knowing that I wouldn't get hurt by this thing at all. And I get my attack and defense raised because, yeah, like I said before, I'm a special wall, so I knew I can take almost any attack from his team, except from his slow ass. But luckily that turn, the dimension trick room ended, so now I'm faster again, and I can go for an acrobat and knock out anything that she's gonna go switch into, and I get the poison heal back. And now she goes in her polar bear thing, and I just stay and I keep going for an acrobat, but I thought I would kill it off, but I forgot I didn't put on I didn't use a swords dance, so I'm like, geez. And she went for the superpower, probably predicting to switch into Heatran, but of course I wouldn't switch out. I might as well just stay in, and she gets the leech seed and leftovers recovery off me, but I get the poison heal, so I technically take no leech seed damage. And I go for another acrobat, knowing it would be stab. But now, because of the fact that she goes for a trick room, so now I'm slower, and because I have mummy ability, I'm gonna die from the toxic and the leech seed, because I'm gonna take a ton of damage from toxic because of my poison heal, and I was sitting in it with it for a long time. Anyways, I switch out and I go into my Randarusu, hoping that I was able to set up a little bit, but I was gonna go for a brick break, seeing I would take the damage. But then I switch over and go into my Swampert because of the dive is a 2-turn hit. So I might as well just go for a curse because it's a free turn to do whatever I want. Because I knew that a dive wouldn't do anything to me; it would do practically nothing. So, anyways, we both get leftovers. She gets hurt by Sandstorm, and she switches over to her slow ass as I switch over to my Randorusu, and she goes for the Dragon Claw. And I go for the Stone Edge, predicting possible switching to slow ass and or like, staying in with a PM with the polar bear thing. And we both get leftovers, but he takes Sandstorm damage, and he goes for another Dragon Claw, just like I predicted the Dragon Claw, so I switch over to my Swampert, and I go up for a Curse. So now I'm at +3 attack and defense. And she takes toxic damage and Sandstorm. And she gets knocked out by the toxic damage because I knew she was staying in too long with that thing. So now she would take a ton of damage. Now it's 3-on-2. And I didn't want my Swampert to die off right away. So I thought maybe I can go for a brick break on my Randorusu. But she switched into Dusakon or Dead Woman or whatever. And my Randorusu gets knocked out. So I go into my Heatran finally. And I go for the Fire Blast, but I didn't realize she would switch out, so I'm like, sweet, free kill. So it was good games, FrostyPixie. It was a fun match. I really enjoyed it. I hope we can battle again sometime. And yeah, it was a fun game. I really enjoyed